Little guy right here go away. That means that I'm no longer recording, so please let me know. It drops out. All right, cool. So Bootstrap. Anybody know? Any idea what Bootstrap is?
CSS framework.
Templates, CSS framework.
Code's already made for you.
Already made code. Cool. Yeah, so it's all those things. It's CSS framework. It's code that's already made. It gives you some type of templating. There are Bootstrap templates out there that you can just download and kind of replace your code with some of that. I don't recommend that for your project because unless you kind of know what you're doing, it's not going to look good. So Bootstrap templates come from, let's see, template. Start Bootstrap. Bootstrap made. So if you guys click on any of these, you're gonna see that these are some Bootstrap templates that you can use. And all you do is you just jack their code and replace it with your own in different places.
I have to pay $14.
What's up?
You pay $14.
No, that's for the templates if you want to use the templates that we have.
Yeah, so this is a Bootstrap template they used. Again, do not use templates. They're pretty, they're beautiful. For now, do not do it. I still have a hard time making a template look good for things that I built. I just used a template for this guy here. But this took me a long time and it doesn't even look that great. It's all right, right?
Cool.
So for now, today we're just gonna cover Bootstrap itself and how we use it. Does anybody know what the main difference is between Bootstrap and CSS? Just straight up CSS?
All Bootstrap already has is classes defined.
Bootstrap already has the classes defined. So the way that we add styling to our HTML and to our the pages that we style is just by adding classes to the HTML. What does that mean? Let me show you guys an example. So over here, this has no CSS at all. If we click on it, we're gonna see that we're not linking to a style sheet besides the Bootstrap style sheet that lives out on the internet, okay? But if we open this, and again, no CSS, you didn't see any style anywhere, right? All you see is a bunch of classes. If we open this bad boy, okay, it's already styled for us. Okay, and I didn't write one line of code to make this right here, or one line of CSS to make this. I just imported Bootstrap and added classes to my HTML. So, and it's got this cool little navigation that does this for you. All that is done for you with Bootstrap. All you gotta know is how to use the classes that are there. So how do we get Bootstrap into our HTML? Anybody?
Reference link.
A reference link, yeah. So we link to it like we link any other style sheet. So the way that we link it here is right here. We link our HTML to the Bootstrap CDN. So this is a different style sheet for fonts called Font Awesome. But here's the Bootstrap style sheet. Okay, if I get rid of this or if I comment this out and I come back over here, oh my pretty website.
So sad.
So sad, right? But again, that's the only style sheet that's on there. If you go to Bootstrap, and also Bootstrap has some JavaScript and jQuery that you're gonna have to import in. So if you go to Get Bootstrap, and you click on Get Started, here's the link that you gotta put into your HTML. Okay, if you guys were obviously using Rails, you would just put this in your applications layout folder. Okay, and this is the JavaScript that you would also put in your applications layout folder. Okay, so you just copy this, and you add all that into your applications layout template, I'm sorry, yeah.
So when you say not to use JavaScript for the project,
This is fine.
Okay.
Yeah, because Bootstrap needs this JavaScript. You're not writing any JavaScript, you're just importing this. Okay? Cool. You've missed all the best parts, Nick.
Yeah.
Have you never heard of the adage, save the best for last?
Yeah, I messed up. I'll do that next
You got it down.
I'll do that next time.
You read it, save the best for first.
All right, so then again, this is how, this is just a standard HTML form. Your link for the Bootstrap style sheet goes in your head tag, as always, and then your script tags will go right before the end of your body tag. You could actually put these above too, but sometimes that makes your page load slower, so they recommend you put it at the bottom. It doesn't make a difference. You could even put these in the head, I believe, if you wanted to, and it'll still be fine, but this is best practice. Cool, and Nick, we're just talking about how to import Bootstrap into our HTML. And this page here has no HTML, no CSS at all, just Bootstrap. And this is the way it looks. Cool?
Super dope.
All right, so what does this code 2 thing look like here? All right, so Bootstrap has a bunch of things that you can just look for, like Bootstrap navigation. All right, and what I'm gonna do here is the one that we were just working on with no CSS. I'm going to just get rid of this navigation altogether. And then we're gonna rebuild it. Bear with me, guys. So nav right here. So we're gonna save that, we're gonna come back over here, and if we refresh, the navigation's gone. So how would we build this nav bar ourselves if we didn't have the code already made for us? Well, it's easy. We just Google Bootstrap navigation bar, and you go to get Bootstrap, okay? And then there's some documentation here, supported content, blah, 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 blah. And then all you gotta do is jack this that's right here, okay? And then we're just gonna drop that right there. Now we save it. If we come back over here and we refresh, bam, nav bar. Amazing, crazy. So this has stuff that we might not want. This has like this drop down, this disabled button. It's got a search bar here that we might not want. So what do we do to make this our own? We just jump into the code. Let me make this bigger for you guys here. Can we see this okay, everybody?
Yes.
Okay. So we just jump into the code and we look at the areas that we don't want. So, oh shoot, look, nav item drop down. What happens if we just get rid of this entire guy right here?
When you go to resize, when you go to responsive mode, you won't be able to have a drop down compensate.
What did I just do here? Where is the drop down? Okay. Did I? What happened here? What did I just do?
Do Control Z so you could revert before you took it off.
What is happening? Alright guys, I have no idea what the heck I just did. So we're missing a nav bar here, right? And if we come back over here, okay, cool.
So copy paste the nav.
Copy paste the nav bar. So we're just gonna jack this. We're gonna drop that right in there. We're gonna save, and then we're gonna come back over here. There it is again. We want to get rid of, these are the things that we're gonna get rid of. We're gonna get rid of the drop down, the disabled, and the search box here, right? So if you guys see nav item drop down here, it's an LI and it ends right here. This is the only thing that we're gonna be removing. Okay, now we come back over here and bam, the drop down is gone. The next one says disabled. Where is it? Is this guy, and LI is just a list item. Like we've built lists before, UL nested with LIs. Navigation is usually nested inside of LI tags like this. Okay, so then we're gonna get rid of this guy. We come here, that's gone. All right, then the search box, that's a form. And again, you could embed forms right into your navigation if you do want to have something like this, and you would do like a form 4, and then you would just add the classes to your form 4 in Rails. Okay? But in this case, we're not looking for that. We refresh, and there it is. And I believe, yeah, the link still shrink up and move to the right when you make this responsive.
Quick question.
What's up?
Can you customize like the Bootstrap by yourself in CSS if you wanna like change, make it blue?
You can, but Bootstrap also gives you a lot of things right off the bat. So if we wanted to make that navigation bar dark, we would do navbar dark, background dark, and now we change the style. What's up?
So how it like shrinks and stuff, that's JavaScript or?
No, that's Bootstrap with some JavaScript. The JavaScript part, the shrinking is just, it's done with like percentages, and then there's probably a media query somewhere that says once you get to this size, a media query is in CSS. Once you get to this size, don't display this style anymore, display this style instead. So that's how that kind of changes from one to the other. Cool. So again, we could change a bunch of stuff on there. If we look here, we can start changing some of the things that the thing says, the nav bar. So if we want to say flat iron here, just like you would do with regular HTML, now it just says flat iron there. All right, that should be simple enough. Bootstrap has a bunch of helper classes. So margin, padding, all those types of things, you're going to add them with Bootstrap. Even the colors, you're not going to use CSS unless you want to change it to make it your own to override a Bootstrap style. So if we want this nav bar to be fatter, okay, we can add a padding to any of these as a class. So right here, the way that we add padding in Bootstrap, actually let's Google it too. I know what it is, but you guys probably don't. Padding, margin padding, how it works. And all we're going to be doing is adding classes. And what is this? How it works? That's the grid. Grid options. Layout, margin, padding. Here we go. So we have these classes, MR3. Does anyone know what, can you guess kind of what that is? Jeff?
MR3?
Yeah.
It's the margin margin
3%.
Margin right, 3. MR.
Almost 3.
Huh?
Which is probably like 33.3%.
No, it's just different sizes. It's got nothing to do with percentages. It's just a number that Bootstrap gives it that just gives you a, the 3 is just a number that it has, and it goes from 1 to 5, from 0 to 5. Why would you give anything a margin of 0? I have no idea, but you can if you're trying to like take margin off, I guess. So if we want to give this guy a margin of top and bottom is MY, and then we'll do like 4. We're going to save this, and if we come back over here, we refresh, now we've got margin on the top and the bottom. Okay, if we want to do padding instead so that it's fat, it's PY. PY for top and bottom, X for left and right. And now we made it fatter with PY. How do we feel about that so far? It's pretty simple stuff. The hardest thing is go ahead.
Sorry, so you showed me earlier, like if you change from the light to dark, right? What if you want to change that specific color that Bootstrap don't provide it to you?
Yeah, so you could override the class itself. Bootstrap also has other colors like primary, and this might work, yeah.
So you can only use like a hex color.
Yeah, so you would have to re-override the style for one of these classes somewhere. So BG warning, like there's a bunch of different colors, and then all we would do is create a new CSS style sheet and create a style called BG warning, and then give it a background color of whatever you want. Does that make sense? One thing that we didn't talk about yesterday, we spoke about it a little bit, is the cascade with CSS. When we are importing style sheets, you want to put the Bootstrap styles above and then your style sheet below it. Why? Can anybody guess? So you can override the Bootstrap styles. If you put your styles above, the Bootstrap is going to override your styles. Okay, so always remember that. You want to put your styles at the end here. Cool? So colors. You asked me about colors. If you want to see all the colors that Bootstrap comes with, here they are. This is CSS though. Okay, theme colors. Here we go. So primary, danger, light, dark, warning, secondary, success, and info. And then you can get rid of all these yourself, and you can override them. Okay.
So overriding just like call that class name in the CSS and try to change it, right?
Yep. So if we're back over here, let's say we had a style tag here. We can override that BG warning. It's a class. Oh. And we'll do background. It's gonna look awful because it's gonna be white on white. What happened here? Background. Let's check out what's happening here.
I think you changed the white smooth for.
So yeah, it doesn't like that because we're probably getting overwritten in Bootstrap somewhere with something more important. So now we overrode it with the important tag. And that's one of the reasons, again, to not use those inline styles. I'm not sure why Bootstrap is making me write important on there. They probably have important on their BG color. So we're gonna have to, since ours is further down, we write important on ours and then it overrides their style. Cool? That's a terrible color for that. We're gonna go with a classic goldenrod.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Any questions so far? Bootstrap also has helper. We already spoke about the helper classes. There's forms in Bootstrap too. Like if we want to create a form, we can go to form and forms. And if you try to in an email address, this is done with JavaScript. Period is used the wrong position in blah, blah, blah. So if you use an email input, it's gonna do this little check for you. It does this little blue highlighting for you automatically if we're on the form input. So that just comes with Bootstrap. Cool. And then if we want this form, we could just jack this right here. And let's say we want a form now. What do you guys want to put a form in here? In between these two things? Yeah, why not? All right, cool. Super exciting class today. Jumbotron. Where do you end Jumbotron? Right here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it in a class called container. Okay, and then a container class, all that is it gives it, it's a wrapper that shrinks everything inside of your box. So we're gonna give it a class of container, and we're gonna give it a class of BG primary. Yep. So, by the way, what I just did there, you guys have access to do the same exact thing. The dot, this, and you write something, dot again, write something else, dot again, write something else, and then you hit enter, and then it does those classes for you. Well, I kept doing ASDF, so it only did one. But that's just called Emmet. It comes with VS Code. That's not like anything magical that I have. Cool, so we put that in there, and now we're gonna put our form in there, and now we're gonna have a form. Oh. All right, with the background of primary blue. Now it looks like crap because we want to change a couple of other things too. Like if the background's going to be blue, we might want to make this text white, this one even lighter, make this submit button a different color. So you see we've got a button here, button primary. We could change that to button secondary, right? So now it's a different looking button, button warning. This button looks like crap because it's like butted up right against the thing at the bottom. We could do like margin bottom, MB, margin bottom, MT, margin top, MR, margin right, ML, margin left, or MY for top and bottom, MX for left and right. So we're gonna do margin bottom 4. Actually, let's do margin top and bottom 4. And now it's got that nice little, what did I do here? Warning. And now we've got a little more room to breathe in there. The whole form, we could give it some padding to suck it in or push everything else out. So this form group, let's give it a padding of 4. I think it's P-4. That doesn't look good though. I want it on the entire form. There we go. All right, now we gave it a little bit of breathing room. Let's see, what else? So Bootstrap has a grid system, and it's my favorite part of Bootstrap. It's really the only reason I use it, because I can style this stuff myself. By laying things out, it's really nice. CSS, not recently, but like in the last like 2 or 3 years, like grid really took off. Flexbox, which has taken away a lot of the need for laying things out with Bootstrap, but I still think it's way easier. When you want to have like rows and columns like this, all right, Bootstrap is, it's really nice at letting you create your own columns. So this is a column of whatever length, and this is another column of whatever length. So how does a Bootstrap grid work? Do I have a... I think I might have, yeah. So if we open this guy up, all right, so this looks crazy, I know, but it's not. This is just some rows with some columns that are put inside of Bootstrap. If we look at the, this is an entire row, this is an entire row. So this is one column that's a third of the entire width. This is another column, and then this is another column. This is a column that, oh, and I guess I made those responsive, so if you bring them down, they stack. So that's why I have 1/3 and 5/12. I don't know what this 1/6 is here. I don't know. I was not in the best state of mind when I made this, I guess. But let's talk about this really quickly. So the way that Bootstrap, the grid system works is we're gonna have a grid of rows, and then inside of those, we're gonna have rows and then columns inside of those rows. So we could usually get away with just making one row, okay, and then have the row have whatever number of columns that we want. And then if it goes over, we just tell it, hey, stack underneath the other column. I think I actually had a, image for this. Final project, CSS. Nope. Prototyping, Bootstrap. Yeah, I do have. Cool, look at that. Didn't even remember I had this. So what is this? What the heck is a container? I should have probably used this padding, margin, and other fun stuff. I definitely was not prepared today. So this is the Bootstrap grid system. So this is a row, okay, and then essentially what we have is we have 12 available slots inside of that row. Okay, that is the way that we can split it up into different sections. So if we want to do a row that's got 2 columns, one that is like takes up 3/4 of the entire row, and then the other sections take off 1/4 of the row, then you would do a column of 8 and then a column of 4. So altogether it adds up to 12. All these columns will always add up to 12. So 6 and 6, 4, 4, 4, 8 and 4, or just 12 ones. Okay, and that's how we lay out the columns in there. So you guys can imagine if we look at like most websites, let's see, I don't know, the most trusted name in news. So yeah, right here, this is essentially one row. This is a row with multiple columns, or this might be a, because you can nest grids also, but let's just for now assume that this is just a row with multiple columns. Okay, so this would be a row with a column of 4, and column of 4. Or maybe this is like, because this looks a little smaller, right?
Yeah.
So maybe this is like a
633.
633, yeah, 633. No, because 6 would be the middle and 6 would be bigger. Maybe like a 552, even though I still, you know, they might have their own layout here, but more or less what this is a smaller section, and then these are larger sections, so this all has to add up to those 12 points. So if we come back to our CSS, I have a row that's wrapped in a container. What does a container do again? Brad?
Container holds things.
Yes, it holds things, but it wraps everything inside of
Like the main class.
it's what all it does. Yeah, all it does is it wraps things so that it contains them and makes them a little smaller, and it doesn't let them widen up. So if we actually got rid of this container here, let's come back over here. Where was I? Option B. Where? Div class container. Where does this bad boy end? Let's find out. So that's for this guy. Okay, I see what I did here. So these are all rows. So I just created 3 rows at the top. Okay, so if I put another class of container on one of these rows, you're gonna see that the top row now is just gonna shrink up to the size of this one right here. That's all container does. It holds things and then it shrinks whatever's inside of them to a certain, to whatever size Bootstrap defines. Cool. So if we give all these guys a class of container, they're all gonna be the same size. And you can put these classes essentially in any order. All right, so these are the 3 rows that we created. And the way that we create a row is just saying R1. Okay, that's how we define a row. And actually, no, we don't. A row is defined with the word row. I apologize for that. R1 is just I gave it a background color. That's my own class that I gave it. So disregard what I said about the R1. A row is defined with the word row. So these were just H classes that I gave a background color to, and I didn't make them rows. I could make this a row, and it shouldn't change anything. Or maybe it does.
Yeah, well, how does a row wraps around the edges of the container? It takes away the padding and margins.
Row wraps around the edges of a container. I think it's because I'm putting row inside of an H1 instead of a div.
Because the convention is row, and then the column, row, column, row, column.
Is that right? Yeah. So it's because I added it to the H1 class and it doesn't like that. Usually you want to wrap a row with something else. Cool. So we've got these rows that I made at the bottom here. We've got a container with a class of row, and then the way that we define columns is just by calling column and then whatever screen size we want to target that for. We can get rid of this altogether, the SM, and we're just defining, hey, it's 3 columns here. Don't worry about the size. Just make them fit however you got to make them fit. Okay, and nothing changes with these columns. Let's also give these guys a margin of 1. So you guys can see them a little better. Okay. So we just defined 3 columns. We didn't tell them how they should be split up. It just used whatever it was, equal sizes, and it just made them fit in there. If we wanted to put another column in there, we could just jack this and put another one there. And now we're going to have 4 columns, and Bootstrap just kind of knows what we need to do. Okay, now let's say we wanted a column that was all of this, and then just 1 column right here, right? So what would we do? We would make this guy a column of 8, this guy a column of 4, and then the other 2 guys are just going to fall below the section. Column 8 and column 4. Because of the margin, it's dropping below. So I might have to take the margin off of these guys for them to sit next to each other. And now they're next to each other. Okay? Does that make sense to you guys? So the grid and column is, I think, the most important part of Bootstrap because you can make really complex layouts. If you add a size to any of these, this means only do this, only make it a column of 4 and a column of 8 when we're looking at a small screen size. So then we could add another screen size and say if we're on a large screen size, column dash 8, or I'm sorry, column dash 2, let's make it backwards, dash large, and this is going to be column dash 8 dash large. All right, so on smaller screens, it's going to flip. The column's going to be on one side, and on larger screens, the big column's going to be on the other side. Okay, so we are. Let's just get rid of these columns for now, so we can see what's happening. Column 4 large, column 8 large. Hold on. Do I not have that? Yeah. So the size goes first. So that's why it looks like crazy. I'm sorry, the screen size. Column large 4. Column small. And then column large 8.
You didn't switch to top one, go on left.
Ah. Okay, so we've got the small column on the left right now and the large column on the right. So that means that we are in column small 4, column small 8. So that means we are in a small screen size right now. And unfortunately, I think because of the resolution of this, we might not be able to see it flip around. Yeah, okay, so
Full screen or something?
I still think we should have a margin of 1 for these guys so we can see them. Okay, so that's on small, and then when we go to large, they flip over to the other side. Okay, the reason why it's breaking right now is because I added that margin, and it's just going on to the next line, which is unfortunate. What we should do instead maybe is say BG warning on one, and the other one is going to be cool. Let me get rid of the margin so we can see how they're next to each other. What is happening? come they're not breaking now? Small 8, small 4, column large 8, column large 4. Yeah, okay, there's the flip. I'm sorry. I'm just, I'm blind.
If
So
want
you
to
see?
change, if you want, yeah. All right.
Cool. All right. Any questions on this? This is pretty much all there is to Bootstrap. Everything else is just laying stuff out. I actually built this one last night. I was going to build it out with you, but it's just going to be a long, boring. Long, boring build out. But this is where you can pretty much design with just some Bootstrap. And I added a couple of my own little styles. And you see when it shrinks down, I get rid of the display of the other stuff. Okay. And if you guys want, I'll slack out this code so you guys can kind of break it down and tear into it, see how it looks. And then this is all the styles that I had for that. That's it. This is all the styling that I wrote. Everything else is just Bootstrap classes. Okay.
Hey, can you change the size of the container?
That's a good question.
Go inside of the CSS.
Yeah, I think that would be the only way. Change container size. Bootstrap. How do I change the width of a container? Go to the customize section on the Bootstrap size and choose the size you prefer. You have to set. So this is if you're downloading. If you're downloading Bootstrap that's being built for you, but again, same thing. You would have to you might be able to override it here. Let's see. Do I have anything in a container? Let's look back at this code here. And we've got a couple of things in a container for, where is it? This guy. Let's just try to override the container class. And let's make it like 90%. So it should extend out almost to the end of the page now. Let's make it 95%, just so we can really see the difference. Nope, doesn't like that.
Try doing min width.
Try doing what?
Min width.
What?
Min width. Minimum width.
Min width?
Yeah. That's what it's using inside of the container class.
Max width 540. Container width 100%. Display 4. Yeah, so it looks like the Bootstrap is overriding it with this media query. Max width 540. Max width, let's do that at 95%. So you usually don't want to override the Bootstrap width, but you definitely can if you dig into it enough. There we go. Okay. Bootstrap also allows you to download customized versions. You just have to change the variables on their website, and then you will download the style sheet and add it to your project. That's more than most people need, though. Like, unless you want to do something really custom. For now, I would just say learn to work with the classes that it provides you, and then just change like basic things like the colors and whatnot. Yeah, that's pretty much it.